So I get asked quite a bit, which car do I like better? I've had quite a few Corvettes. I've had two Vipers. And I'll be honest with you, they're different. I've driven every gen Viper. I went to buy a second gen, two raw, owned a third gen, owned a fourth gen, driven a fifth gen. Fifth gen's a lot more refined. And I've driven pretty much every Corvette ever. And I'm going to go ahead and break down the differences to you. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to tell you is, as far as an all-around everyday car, that's a better car. It's easier to live with. It's more comfortable. It's easier to get in and out of. It rides better. It's more forgiving. It's cheaper to mod. It's easier to find parts. That being said, this is more fun. This is an 8.4 liter V10 from the factory. They make about 600 horse. This one made about 590 to the wheels. ARH headers, high flow cats, Borla exhaust, tune, coilovers, some good stuff. So it's a lot of fun. It rides really rough with the coilovers. It's really hot, really bouncy. Even with the headers wrapped, this is considered a mid-engine car. So the engine is behind the front axle. Okay, now I apologize. It started to rain on me. Some storms are coming in. So I had to pull the cars in the garage. But this one is a 6.2 liter LS3. It's got a Magnuson supercharger on it. ARH headers, B&B, bullet exhaust, injectors. It's got a few things on it. It's on pump gas right now. It's turned down, pretty conservative. It made like 560 to the wheels. But it's an auto, really easy to live with. That's one thing I like about the Grand Sports is the top comes off, whereas the C606ZR1, the top doesn't come off. You still get the wide body with it. Usually I prefer this car in a manual, but we got a pretty good deal on it. I'm not a fan of the tan interior. Looks much better in black. But it's got the carbon fiber center console, Kenwood head unit with Apple CarPlay, backup cam. Top comes off. Car rides like a Cadillac. Very easy to live with. When you get in it, you're not like exhausted or like cussing because it's a workout. The Viper, on the other hand, when you drive this car, it is a bit of a workout. You have no traction control, no stability control, nothing to bail you out if you mess up. It's an 8.4 liter V10, and if you mess up, you're on your own. It's just you and the Lord. Let me pop the hood real quick. Like I said, 08 was the first year they went from an 8.3 liter to an 8.4 liter V10. This engine was actually helped develop by McLaren. It's got variable valve timing, where when the RPMs get up, it's almost kind of like VTEC, you Honda boys would know. It's almost like a cam within a cam. But like I said, this one made right under 590 to the wheels, which is a little under 700 from the engine, from the crank. A lot of fun. It's a very hot car. It rides it rides very rough, especially with the coilovers. Whereas like this car they call it the Widowmaker. You know, it tries to kill you, where this car is much easier to live with. You got stability control, traction control, cheaper to mod, more tuners for it, more parts. And like I said, this car is a cam and maybe a small converter away and a drag pack from being a real problem. Turn up the boost, smaller pulley E85. These cars that blower is big enough to blow up the motor. So, this car can easily make 650 to 750 to the wheels without much help. Put a tire on it, and you got a pretty fast car. You got it deep into the 10s pretty easily, if not high 9s if you really turn it up, with a nice cam in it. So, to each their own. I've had Corvettes most of my life, but the Viper I like because it's almost like you drive an exotic. You don't see a lot of them. And it's really the cheapest quote-unquote exotic you can get into. Half these cars have been wrecked. Not many of them are still on the road. It gets a lot of attention. It sounds really good. You got side exhaust. They're very different. From the time I was a kid, every time we saw a Viper, it broke our neck. My dream car was a second-gen blue with white stripe GTS, and they say never meet your idols. I went to drive one. I actually went to buy one. Guy wouldn't let me buy it, wouldn't let me test drive it till I brought the check. And then when I drove it, after 10 minutes, I told him I couldn't buy the car. Having C5, C6s, driven C7s, was like, I don't want to daily that car in the spring or summer. Third, fourth gen Viper, fifth gen Viper, pretty easy to daily compared to the first and second gen. But, you know, for these cars, the Corvette's probably a little bit cheaper. It's easier to daily, easier to live with, easier to mod if you want to drive across the country. Very easy to do. The Viper, and this would probably be a lot more comfortable to drive across the country if I didn't put coilovers all the way around. But it gets hot with the top up. It's a much better ride with the top down. My wife actually gets kind of car sick in it with the top down on long rides. It gets hot, gets really hot in the interior if you don't roll down the windows or blast AC. But if I could only have one, it would be this one. It's a lot of work. It tries to kill you. Rides like crap. Old Dodge technology, but I'll tell you what, no other car ever put a smile on my face like this car. And I've driven R8s, Lambos, you name it. I've driven 1,000 horsepower cars, but I'm a sucker for a C6, a C6 Z06, a C6 ZR1, or even a Grand Sport with some nice mods. The LS3 is pretty much bulletproof. And if you want to, like I said, if you're in between both cars, you want to go fast, that one's cheaper to daily and go fast with. That's going to get more attention. I compare them like this is, if you compared it to humans, this would be like the good girl, the high school sweetheart, the girl you bring home to mom and dad. This is the stripper that tries to ruin your life and kill you. So, like I said, it's this one's easier to live with, but this one will put a smile on your face every time you get in it. It's just ridiculous. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully you like the review. Let me know what you think. Thanks.